everyone for tuning into this evening's video. So earlier on today we did this Sunday roundup. You can find the video tab here on the homepage, just scroll down and it's underneath the link ads. So that looked at various things, and we did look at weather next week to 10 days, but we focused on the winter reanalysis, had a look at the winter that's just gone, and we also had a look at the Arctic Oscillation, North Atlantic Oscillation, stratosphere, began weather solar tracker, and all of that kind of thing. We did have a look at the weather for next week to 10 days, and we said there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding this chance of colder conditions coming up right at the end of next week, potentially. Whether it's just a cold snap last day or two, whether we even get that, or whether we can set up a prolonged cold spell. So we'll have a look at the GFS ensembles tonight individually. So that's what we're going to do for today's second video. I'll go with that for you in a second. Just say about the ads. There's video ads to most pages. Say own content. When you watch them, they'll close back up again, and it does help to pay for gaslovids.com. So thanks for getting involved, and thanks for doing that. Just starting off with the operational GFS first of all, before we have a look at the ensembles. This situation on Thursday, we've got high pressure to the south, low pressure to north. This is meteoseal.fr, by the way, by link meteoseal on the links page. So we've got high pressure to the south, low pressure to the north. We're dragging up quite a mild southwesterly flow. At the end of the week, we don't get that northerly on this particular run of the GFS. We just bring this area of low pressure through. Some cold air does dig in by the weekend in Scotland, but for most of us, it's just dull and quite wet on this particular GFS run. After that, we set up a bridge of high pressure through the country, start to send it up to the north. So it turns a little bit colder, but certainly not the northerly that it was indicating yesterday, for example. We're going to the extended part of the GFS run, and the high pressure just sort of sits around over the country. There it is, a large area of high pressure dominating through towards the middle part of March. That could keep it quite cold. And we have this slack easy flow starting to set up. Now, as we go through to the very extended range of the operational GFS, we do pull in quite a cold easterly wind. That's bringing in unusually cold air for the second half of March. I mean, probably be snow coming into the south and the east with that as well. So it takes a very long time to get there, but eventually tonight's GFS operational run does get really quite cold in the second half of March. However, the little northerly snap that was supposed to start all this off, that's looking very doubtful on this run of the GFS. What about the GFS ensembles, though? Let's start off with the control, and that's run at a slightly lower resolution compared to the operational GFS. So we started off on the 13th of March with these ensembles. We find that the control GFS wants to have high pressure close to the country. That high pressure sits around the country as we run up to the middle part of March. It takes us to the 15th. And then it pushes out to the northwest, and we drag in this easterly flow, which is quite cold. Not as cold as what we just saw on the operational GFS, but it's quite a chilly easterly that, and it could bring some wintry showers into the east. We finish up starting to turn things potentially a little bit stormy up to the north by the very end of the GFS control run. What about ensemble member number 1? This is what it's showing for the 13th of March, bringing up mild southwest winds, so no northerly snap with this one. And what happens is that we just keep high pressure to the south and low pressure to the north. So that one never really gets cold. Actually, for some parts of the country, would be fairly mild with low pressure out to the west. And some rain, especially so in the north and west. This is ensemble member number 2. And this is bringing down a colder north-northeast wind on the 13th of March. And high pressure sitting around the country, probably producing frost. And then again, we take that high pressure to Scandinavia and start to pull in some cold air from the east as we go to the second half of the month. So that could be bringing certainly wintry showers, maybe even some snow into eastern and southern parts of the country. That's a much colder one. Ensemble member number 2. Ensemble member number 3 looking like this, and again we've got high pressure very close to the country around the 13th to the 14th of March. Where's it going to take that high pressure? Well, it just keeps it round the country really. So this one is just very dry, unsettled, with probably frost at night, but not particularly cold by day, I wouldn't have thought with that one. Ensemble member number 4, again, high pressure close to the country on the 13th March through to the 15th. That high pressure is still with us. And this one's taking the high pressure up to Scandinavia as well in the second half of the month. There we are, putting in quite a cold easterly wind again with ensemble member number 4. However, the key point about all of this is that the northerly snap, which was going to start at the end of this week and go into the weekend, that is in some doubt now. I think when we ever get that northerly snap. So anything after that, of course, is highly uncertain. This is ensemble member number 5. High pressures over country on the 13th of March with a bitterly cold easterly wind just to our south and east. As we run through into the second half of March, we find that high pressure up over Scandinavia. We're bringing the winds in from the east, so it is quite cold. Could certainly be wintry showers in eastern parts of the country. Number 6 is bringing down a northerly. There we go. It's our first one that has a northerly in around a week's time. So yes, northerly winds coming down, probably producing wintry showers in the north and the east. Then high pressure topples into the country before we replace that and bring more of an Atlantic flow in. So after that little northerly snap, actually it doesn't get particularly cold on ensemble member number 6. Ensemble member number 7 has a bit of a northerly for northern eastern parts of the country on the 13th of March, and then we take that high pressure to our north and get the wind in from the east as we go into the second half of the month. So this one is a cold one again with ensemble member number 7, eventually setting up really quite an impressive blocking feature out to the north and west, pulling in most easy winds. Those could certainly be bringing wintry showers, maybe even snow, into the south and the east of the country. Ensemble member number 8 looks like this. We've got low pressure to our east on the 13th, putting down this northerly wind. That soon gets out of the way, and then it's just low pressure coming in from off the Atlantic. There we go. Low pressure is heading in off the Atlantic, bringing fairly mild, wet and windy weather with ensemble member number 8. A real mixed bag tonight with these ensembles. This is different again. This is number 9, and this has low pressure to our south and a bitterly cold easterly wind on the 13th of March. That could be producing some snow for northern parts of the country. That low pressure clears away and then high pressure slinks down over the country, probably producing a lot of frost but dry weather. We finish up starting to pull up a milder southerly or southwesterly wind. Number 10, and we're halfway through now, shows high pressure out to our northwest. We're pulling down this northeasterly wind on the 13th of March, and then the high pressure sort of collapses and allows milder air to roll in over the top, although eventually we do try to get that high pressure back towards Scandinavia. One thing that is showing up here is that after this very unsettled start to March, it looks like we're turning things significantly drier, I think, as we're heading into the middle phase of the month again with high pressure close. Whether that high pressure is going to be close in a position to produce cold weather, that's what the uncertainty is. But it does look like there's a lot of dry weather coming up after this very unsettled start to March. This is ensemble member number 12. Let's just see where we was with the last one. So number 10. So we're going to go through to number 11. Next, this is ensemble member number 11. This has low pressure to our south on the 13th of March, pulling in this easterly wind, which looks quite cold, could certainly be bringing wintry showers into the eastern part of the country to the middle of the month. And then high pressure is close to the country, keeping the south mostly dry. The north is turning milder, wetter and windier in the second half of the month. Ensemble member number 12 has high pressure out to the north of the country as we go through to the middle part of the month. This is the 15th, pulling in this cold easy wind, which could bring wintry showers with it. And then that high pressure just sits very close to the country again, pulling in a slack easterly wind, which could be producing wintry showers, especially so in the east. This is ensemble member number 13. Again, we've got northerly winds, which are cold winds, and then low pressure's coming in quite quick. This is a more unsettled one. Actually a little bit on the stormy side there as we're going through into the second half of March with ensemble member number 13. Number 14 has high pressure close to the country on the 13th of March, and then that high pressure going up to Scandinavia again as we go through into the second half of the month, pulling in this cold easterly wind that could certainly bring wintry showers, if not snow, into eastern parts of the country. And we finish up still in an easterly flow and looking quite cold there with ensemble member number 14. Number 15 has us in a northerly wind on the 13th of March. That's quickly replaced by milder westerly Atlantic winds, and then it's just milder then through into the second half of the month. A lot of dry weather for the south, always more unsettled up in the north. And then number 16 is looking like this. So low pressure is coming in off the Atlantic there as we go through into the middle part of the month. It's 16th of March, deep area of low pressure to our southwest, pulling in this easy wind, which is bringing cold air with it. That low pressure dies to our south, and we pull down temporarily some quite cold air from the north, and then it turns milder. That's a more unsettled one, very changeable. It is cold at times, but also quite wet. Number 17 has high pressure close to the country on the 13th of March. That high pressure is then sitting to our east through most of the extended run there. So just a lot of dry weather really with ensemble member number 17. Not overly cold by day, but probably frost at night. Number 18 looks very similar to the 13th of March. High pressure is in control before eventually that high pressure starts to push away to our east. Low pressure comes up from the south west. I think that will again be producing a lot of dry weather and not overly cold. I think temperatures can actually be quite pleasantly mild there actually with that one, bringing the air from the southeast in the second half of March. It's going to be very pleasant indeed. Number 19 and penultimately looking like this. High pressure is to our it's over the country slightly to the north, bringing in this easy flow to the south on the 13th of March through to the middle part of the month. Again, we have this easterly wind pushing in, which does look like it's bringing some cold air with it, so there might be a few wintry showers there, for example, on the 18th and 19th. Generally, it's high pressure dominated, so a lot of dry weather and quite cold, especially so for the east of ensemble member number 19. And finally, number 20, on the 13th of March, got high pressure out to the northwest, bringing down this east-northeasterly flow. As we run through, that high pressure stays in control throughout the second half of the month, really. So we go to the 21st of March, as far as we can go. That high pressure getting control again, not producing much in the way of cold weather, really. Nights could be frosty by day. Because it's second half of March, it's going to be pleasant in any sunny spells. So a real mixed bag there with these ensembles tonight. A lot of them do have some sort of colder weather, and many of them actually bringing it in from the east now. So some sort of cold weather around the middle part of the month into the second half of March, yes, potentially. But a real mixed bag. They're not all doing it by any means. And the one thing I think that is quite well standing out here is that high pressure's coming back. So we've had a very unsettled start to March with a lot of rain. Looks like we'll be breaking out of that as we run up towards the middle part of the month and bring back high pressure. Whether the high pressure is in a position to turn it cold or whether it's just going to give us very pleasant early spring weather, that's what we've got to wait and see. But it looks like we're going back to high pressure, which was the pattern of the winter, of course. So it looks like we're getting back to that yet again. Right, that's all for now. Don't forget to check out today's first video, the Sunday Roundup. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.